The decision to place the DA-run Tshwane Metro Council under administration was unwarranted. That's the ruling that's been handed down by the Constitutional Court earlier today. The Gauteng provincial government had placed Tshwane under administration last year. This came after the failure of the city's council to hold a series of meetings after the collapse of the coalition between the DA, the EFF and other smaller parties in the metro. The DA has briefed the media following this court ruling today. My colleague, that's senior reporter Siphamandla Goge, is following that story for us, is joining us now this hour. Ncome, good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday View this hour. Thank you very much for your time. The DA, what have they said? What's their reaction following this judgment?
Well, they have welcomed the judgment of the Constitutional Court. They say the majority judgment favors them, and they say this was a political decision by the ConCourt MEC in Gauteng, Lebogang Maile, and the Gauteng Provincial Executive to place the Tshwane Metro Council under administration. They say that should have been the last resort, but they accuse MEC Maile of just jumping the gun and going straight into placing the Tshwane Metro Council under administration. They say he should have exhausted all other avenues. So according to the ConCourt judgment, the decision of the dissolution of the Metro Council was unwarranted and therefore is deemed unlawful. And that is something that the DA says, well, they welcome with both hands. They say they were expecting it because in terms of the legal recourse, the MEC has been trying to appeal the judgment of other lower courts, and they are saying, well, in this case it favors them, and it's a pity because it's now months ever since they mounted this legal challenge, but they are saying they are happy in the end that it has worked out. Let's listen to their provincial leader solely explaining.
If people are actually taking decisions that are seen to be reckless, and I want that these decisions are reckless, that we need to ensure that going forward, they are held personally responsible for the costs, because at the end of the day, it becomes the taxpayer that still has to be paying for this. But I'm glad that this judgment has come just before the elections, because it then also sets a precedent to then say whoever is in the provincial or national government, they will not be allowed, as long as there's the judicial system that is independent and that is working in South Africa, they will not be allowed to really circumvent processes or to abuse their power in order to get a political outcome that they would want.
So, Siphamandla, what's next now?
Well, it's a little bit too late for the DA in the Tshwane Metro Council, but they say all is not lost, even though it may be deemed as water under the bridge, because the term of office for the current leadership in terms of municipalities is coming to an end soon. But they are saying they will be seeking a legal opinion. They will be consulting widely, because they believe that some authorities and officials need to be held accountable and responsible for what they call a political mess in Tshwane, for the decision to place the Metro Council under the administration. Let's take a listen to Randall Williams explaining.
Well, what we will do is certainly to get legal opinion to see what remedies we can put in place to recover any losses suffered by the city. So we will act on independent legal advice on the way forward as far as that is concerned.
Well, Siphamandla, there's no doubt as the local government elections are approaching that Tshwane is going to be a highly contested battleground between the political parties. I'm just wondering if the DA is looking ahead and thinking about possible coalitions. Should there be no outright winner again?
It is indeed the political battleground. The governing African National Congress launched its manifesto here in Tshwane. They say they want to reclaim the seat that they lost. The DA is saying, hang on, it's not going to happen. We are going to get an outright majority here. We also know that the EFF is vying for Tshwane as well. All other political parties are coming for Tshwane. So the DA is saying, well, for now, they are not preoccupied with the issue of coalitions, but they are saying they have learned their lesson in not formalizing what they call working relationships or coalitions with other parties before. Remember that their coalition with the EFF or working relationship with the EFF and other smaller parties was plagued by challenges and disagreements. So it ended up collapsing, if we can call it that. But for now, the DA is saying, well, if they do not get the outright majority, they are willing to work with other parties, but they need to formalize that relationship. Let's take a listen to Soli.
We're going, and our message is very clear. We want the 50+1. That's what we're hoping for, because of the lessons that we have learned when you have coalition governments that are not stable, and where actually in certain instances you don't formalize those kind of agreements. One of the things that the party has taken a firm stance on is that we are going for a 50+1. But should it happen that we don't get to that 50+1, we will not jump into any other organization except organizations that are willing on principle to agree in terms of what needs to be done, and that needs to be put down on paper and agreed upon. So it cannot be a fluid agreement that gets to be changed whenever I feel like it and wake up today and feel like it. So that's what we have learned from this last term in office.
Okay, finally, Siphamandla, has there been any reaction from the local government? I mean, we know that they're the ones who had put Tshwane under administration. That's Lebogang Maile's department. Have they said anything, or anybody at the provincial executive level commented on this ruling today?
Just one standard line. We are studying the judgment. We'll comment further later. That's the standard line we have received from the office of MEC Lebogang Maile, that they are studying this judgment. Of course, this will be a blow to them, but however, they are adamant that they will respond properly once they have studied the judgment.
Thank you very much. Siphamandla Goge there, the latest there on that court decision. They're saying that the placing the DA-run Tshwane Metro Council last year under administration was unwarranted. We'll have to wait and see what Lebogang Maile and other government officials in the province will have to say about this judgment today. The DA, of course, has welcomed it.